Hi guys, I just wanted to do a story time today on something that people have been asking me loads of questions about, and it's how I stopped smoking. So I stopped smoking after smoking for 23 years, and I know I don't look old enough to smoke for 23 years, and I'm probably not. Well, legally I'm not anyway. But yeah, it was something that I wanted to do for a while. I've done it this year, a few months ago now, maybe 3, 4 months ago. So I wanted to share it with you. I've written some notes down as well so that I can take you through each of the stages. But first of all, I think it's important to put it out there. Like I was a weird to say die-hard smoker kind of thing. So I don't know if any of you have ever watched EastEnders, but there's a character on EastEnders called Dot Cotton, and Dot Cotton's constantly smoking, and people used to call me Dot. And also call me like Fag Ash Lil, because I literally would smoke all the time. I actually loved it as well. I loved smoking. I wasn't one of those people who was like, oh, I'm smoking and complaining about it. I smoked and I actually loved smoking. I felt like it was something enjoyable for me to do. It wasn't until last year that I actually thought it's something I don't want to do anymore. I was always one of those people that was like, yeah, if I think I'm going to have a child or something, then maybe I'll stop smoking. But other than that, I wasn't going to stop, because I actually enjoyed it. So, anyway, fast forward this year, I got a little bit ill in the beginning of the year. It was around the time of coronavirus, to be fair. I don't know if I had it or not. But I definitely felt a bit run down. Now, just to make it clear, I wasn't also the type of smoker that would stop smoking just because I was ill. I was like, I'd still smoke. I'd stop eating, may even stop drinking, like water or whatever. But I wouldn't stop smoking. I even used to, I've had 2 of my teeth taken out before the dentist say to you, don't smoke, I would smoke. That type of person. So yeah, that's the type of person I was. But this time I got ill and I thought, oh, you did want to start smoking last year and you didn't. Let's just see if we could stop smoking whilst you're ill. So it was a couple of days of being ill, like 2, 3 days. And then I hadn't smoked and I'd eaten a few things, but I hadn't smoked. And I thought, oh, okay, cool. I haven't smoked. If I haven't smoked for 3 days, they say that nicotine leaves your system after 3 days. So I thought, okay, well, the nicotine then surely can't be in my system anymore. So let me carry on from here. So anyway, got to day 4. I'm feeling a bit better now. So what happened? I started thinking about smoking. So at least 3 to 4 times an hour, I'll be thinking, oh my God, I want to smoke. And then I wouldn't smoke, but I'd be thinking about it. So it used to make me quite frustrated in the first week. So it was basically like I gave up smoking, but I took up swearing. I was swearing at quite a lot of people, had quite a few arguments with people as well because it was so easy for me to get irritated. I was just agitated in general. So I think because I'm constantly thinking about smoking and I wasn't smoking, so it was taking a certain amount of my mental capacity to do that. Obviously, to break that habit was a big thing. And then people would just say little random things to me, and that was irritating. And then bam, we go into lockdown. So then I'm speaking to my little sister on the phone, and I see Boris Johnson say, oh, basically, we're in lockdown. You're not allowed out. So now I'm fuming. I'm like, hang on a minute. I've stopped smoking. I've just been ill. We're like 4 days into me stopping smoking now. And now we're going on lockdown. I literally felt like it was a big joke. Like someone trying to play a prank on me. Can I possibly be in any worse conditions to stop smoking at the moment? I've just been ill. Other people are just irritating me in general. And now we're all going into lockdown. I am an extrovert. So that to me in the beginning was like, are you kidding me? Can't go out anywhere. And I couldn't go out and I couldn't smoke. So now I'm like seething. Anyway, what else happened? I felt more tired than usual. I wasn't eating any more than I normally did though, which was pretty good at that time. And I would be more upset. So just because I was frustrated, I think in general, so I cry more than I normally would. Definitely get angry. And like I said, we were in lockdown. Everything that happened to me was like magnified on 10. So if someone said something slightly irritating, you might as well said you were going to kill me. It was that bad. But I still had the thought in my mind that I didn't want to smoke anymore. And the thing is, up until the point where I decided I wasn't going to smoke anymore, I would have told you that it would have been quite easy for me to stop if I wanted to, because I'm that kind of person. Put my mind something, I actually do it. And I've proven it with this situation as well, but that wasn't as easy as the other things that I do, you know. Because the other things actually feel good when I'm doing them as well. If I'm pursuing a goal of mine, you know, something to do with my business, whatever it is, obviously it's going to be somewhat enjoyable. That wasn't enjoyable, giving up smoking. So that bit was a bit different. But what it did make me realise, and I know it's a stupid thing to say, but it's almost like I almost didn't believe I was that addicted. Do you get what I mean? When you're doing something and you want to do it, it's quite easy for you to think that you're not that addicted to it, because you think, no, I'm doing it because I enjoy it anyway. If I didn't enjoy it, I would just stop. That's why I've always said my whole life. I never said, oh, well, I'm addicted. Because it never even got down to the point where I would test whether I was addicted, because I never stopped anyway. Totally random, but I just thought I'd throw it out there in case anyone relates to it. Yeah, I didn't really think I was addicted. So that probably was really irritating me as well, because I thought, oh, you really have been smoking as well. Not just because you like it, because you can't really stop that easily. So that pissed me off. And then, what else have I got? Yeah, I felt more tired than usual. And so I would sleep for longer. But what I also noticed as well is that if I didn't go to sleep when I was tired, the need to want to smoke was so much greater. So I had to start really listening to my body and going to sleep when I was tired initially, because the longer I'd stay up, the more frustrated I would get. And then on day 7, I relapsed in week 1. And I relapsed, and this is the justification I gave myself. I said, because obviously I made the decision, I started to feel ill, and then I decided, oh, let me see if I can stop smoking, and then I just decided to carry it on. Because I made the decision like that, I started saying to myself, well, if I would have known I was going to stop smoking, I would have at least had one last cigarette, you know, and all these kind of things, and the thought wouldn't go. So one day I thought, well then, if this is what you're saying, Bianca, this is your new thing to say to yourself now, you would have just had one last cigarette and you could have enjoyed that last cigarette and then you'll stop smoking, then do it. So I went outside, I had a roll up. In the beginning, I was like, actually, this is quite nice. This is a nice goodbye roll up. And I was thinking, am I really going to stop? I don't know. All of a sudden, this wave came over me of what felt like someone injecting poison into my body. I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you actually joking? What's happened is, by that time, obviously all the nicotine left my body. So now I was getting to feel what the real response my body was having to smoking, and it felt really bad. I was dizzy. I couldn't walk straight. It was really bad. And I thought, okay, you're not doing that anymore, because now it didn't feel good either, you know, and I didn't like it. And I thought, right, I'm definitely going to stop. And since then, I've not smoked again. So then going into week 2, I was more determined now, because now I actually physically could feel, oh, hang on a minute, this is actually harmful. I know some of you are going to be watching this thinking, obviously smoking's harmful. Well, when you start smoking at 13, all of those feelings of it feeling harmful probably happened at 13, and I obviously ignored them. And then going on, because you're used to that, you don't really see it like it's doing any damage to you, because if you're out of breath walking up a hill or whatever it is, you're not really attributing that to cigarettes, because that's how you've always been walking up a hill. So you just think, oh, I'll just improve my fitness, and that's what it is. You don't naturally think, oh, let me stop smoking. Crazy as it is, but you don't. So now I felt more determined. I was still thinking about smoking, but I was less kind of like, with less anxiety around it. One thing I will say as well, like I've got videos on Instagram talking about suffering with complex PTSD, which there were certain kind of triggers that could trigger me to become anxious. I'll tell you something, the triggers that used to trigger me off and could make me become anxious don't work on me anymore. And I don't know, I believe it's got something to do with smoking. Part of me believes that smoking contributes to anxiety. no joke. So if you've got anxiety, may be really good for you as well to stop smoking, because I haven't had anything, and I'm telling you, there are certain things that have happened that I know would have triggered me before to have an emotional flashback or to have like some sort of anxiety feeling, but I haven't had it, and I'm definitely attributing it to stopping smoking. So just saying. Yeah, I also realised as well, I was doing a lot of reflecting about smoking. I realised that I was just less anxious in general, because I think before, when you smoke, and you'll know this, I'm presuming you're a smoker because you're watching this. When you smoke, what happens is that you think about it all the time. So whenever you're going to like parties or something, you might not think about it consciously, but you'll think, I wonder if you could smoke there, or you're going out to dinner, or I wonder what point I'm going to go out to smoke. Like I used to be like that, not on a conscious level, but I'd know we'd have like, you know, our main meal, and if we were going to stay there for dessert, I would go out after my main meal and come back in, you know, after smoking. So yeah, it's just a thing you think about. Like if you have to go to all day conferences or whatever, you just think, is there going to be time to smoke? It's just something that plays in your mind. So I didn't have that anymore. I was still tired, but I started waking up earlier. So basically what I done was I started exercising, which was really, really good. And then I started to notice in week 2 as well, like the dark circles under my eyes. They used to be really bad before, in my opinion anyway. But totally like clearing up. It was insane, like how my skin was, and like ears, and just how the dark circles have improved. I started to notice as well, like my lips weren't as dry. Like it was just like other things were starting to improve that I never even thought about as well. Yeah, so my skin was like really glowy, and like it's just got like a certain life to it back, you know. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it's a lot more glowy. I started snacking more though. I didn't really realise I started doing that, but I started snacking a hell of a lot more, and I started buying things that like I wouldn't normally buy but tasted really, really good. Now, people often say, oh, you put on a lot of weight when you stop smoking. It's not a case of putting on a lot of weight like it just comes out of the blue. You start eating more. So if you're aware of that from the beginning and you literally plan it out, you know, or just take a note as you hit week 3, what are you eating? How often are you eating? Are you a snacker now when you never used to be a snacker before? Because it can creep up on you. And then I started doing like researching as well, a bit of like information about stopping smoking and what I could expect, just to help me to deal with like different stages of it. And I'd only told a few people by then, because I thought, well, I don't want to pressure everyone being like, oh yeah, she stopped smoking, only for me to be at the next party smoking again. And I knew there were certain milestones and triggers for me that I thought, don't know if I can not smoke in those situations, like drinking, you know, because loads of people go from being smokers to social smokers. I'm not really like that. I'm like an all or nothing person. I'm not going to do that half-stepping thing. So I knew. What I did think to myself was, maybe I'm never going to drink again, because drinking and smoking for me is the one. But I thought, no, let me just drink. So I had a few drinks one day, and then I thought, okay, I didn't actually think about smoking. That was good. And then, no, I tell a lie. On the first drink I did, by the second drink I didn't. I was just having fun. And then I went to like a small little gathering with my family, and then we had drinks there. And not only did we have drinks, all of my cousins and stuff were smoking, and that's something that I've normally done with them. So I thought, if I go to parties, will I not be able to stand around them while they're smoking? But actually I was fine. They were right in my face. It's fine, absolutely fine. And then what happened after that? So then, yeah, fast forward like to week 5 basically, and there would be days where I wouldn't think about smoking at all, or, you know, we'd be walking down the street, me and my sister, and then someone would be smoking, and she'll say, oh, did you think about smoking today? And it wouldn't even have occurred to me anything about smoking. So I was absolutely fine with that as well. So yeah, so then it was, yeah, I drink when I want to, eat when I want to. I have increased my exercise, so I just feel like, yeah, I clearly like food a bit more than I thought I did. So maybe balance it out with a bit of exercise. But I've also just been a bit mindful about how far I go with things. There was a stage where I'll do things like, you know, those Butterkiss popcorn, the big ones, for £1, I would eat like 3 of them in the space of 45 minutes. Why? I don't know. It was just ridiculous. Even I was watching myself like, what are you doing, Bianca? It's disgusting. But I was doing it and I was enjoying it. And I just thought, oh, well, this is better than smoking. But then it was got to a stage where I thought, well, what are you going to do now? You're trading cigarette addiction for food addiction. Stop it. So I'm slowly getting myself back into a more balanced stage. I'm a foodie anyway, so I'm always going to be going for it when it comes to food, but not 3 massive bags of popcorn in an hour. You know, it's just too much. So yeah, I wanted to share the story with you basically, because when I was looking for stories of other people, I didn't really come across anyone who was like me. Didn't come across anyone who was young and been smoking for a long time. I was smoking for 23 years. 23? 22. No, I was like 12, yeah. 12, 13. 23 years I was smoking for. And I just stopped and I'm not going back. And so, but I'm still like, I'm 35. Do you get what I mean? So there wasn't really younger people like who's talking about their journey stopping smoking. There wasn't really anyone who I thought, oh, they can relate to me a bit. So I thought maybe someone will relate to my story. Maybe it will help you. Do you get what I mean? But yeah, what I would say to you is like, you need to be prepared. The hardest bit of it was feeling the feeling and resisting it, which, you know what, it's the hardest bit when it comes to anything that you want to change in your life or any area that you want to create consistency in and a new habit. That is the main problem with it, overcoming whatever feeling that is trying to stop you from pursuing whatever that goal is that you've got. So when it comes to kind of having consistency and drive, and I've applied it in my business and I've applied it now in terms of smoking, it's about feeling whatever feeling it is and doing what you said you're going to do anyway, whether it's fear, sadness, anger, whatever it is, let the feeling come up and do what you said you're going to do anyway. So if you want to ask me any questions, guys, feel free to drop questions below. Yeah, like, comment, share it with someone who says they want to start smoking but hasn't done it. Let me know if you want me to tell a story time about anything else after. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button, please. Like this video if you haven't liked it yet. Drop a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you soon.